Am I the asshole for not letting X off the hook on CS so he can afford his new life? My ex-husband had a 4-year-long affair. I only came to learn about his affair because he got the other woman pregnant. We are now divorced, they are married and they have a 2-year-old together. X and I share an 11 and 12-year-old. As of last year I have primary custody because he and his wife and their child moved 4 hours away, which the courts considered too far to maintain 50-50 timeshare. The business X worked for collapsed due to COVID back in April and X was out of work for several weeks. In that time he asked me to take him off the hook for child support, which meant no back pay for the weeks, and because I said no he brought me back to court. All the court did was readjust the amount he owed because of their lost income. X's wife has since got a job and he says they are still struggling because neither make good money. He asked me again to let him off the hook. He said their daughter is suffering because between keeping the roof over their head and paying CS there isn't much left to provide for her. I told him that is not my problem. My concern will always be our children. He claims if I can afford to provide for them without him for a period of time it is the right thing to do because his other daughter is their half-sister and as such it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. I told him the discussion was over and I want the CS for my children. Am I the asshole? Since everyone is asking. I get less than $300 a month in CS from him. I make enough where I can cover things myself. Some months are a little more rough than others. But I am not a rich woman. I don't have a fancy house, car and lavish lifestyle. I am a single mother working hard to provide for my kids. I rarely spend any of the CS. I do everything in my power to put money into my kids' savings, but sometimes when the money comes, especially in winter, I need it for something. I did not make my children alone. I am not the only person responsible for providing for them. He hasn't seen them since last year and now wants to not provide for them. I pay medical expenses, school supplies, food, clothes, keeping a roof over their head. I buy Christmas and birthday gifts, even from him some years because if they aren't with them he sends nothing. I do my damn best to make sure my kids are taken care of. Not the asshole. CS is for the benefit of your children. If he wants an amendment to the CS agreement he needs to talk with the courts further. You are right. Not your business. He and his wife need to hustle more. Not the asshole. If he didn't want to pay CS, he shouldn't have had an affair. It's not your responsibility to make sure his daughter is cared for. If he can't afford to provide for his daughter and pay CS he should get another job. Not the asshole. His new life or lack thereof is not your problem. He had the affair, he had more children. As a parent it's his job to provide for all his children. If he's struggling he needs to figure it out, but it's not your job to make sure his other child has what she needs too. The fact that he brought that up was ridiculous. Not the asshole. Child support is necessary and your children should always and forever be your main concern. He claims if I can afford to provide for them without him for a period of time it is the right thing to do because his other daughter is their half-sister and as such it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. Oh hell no to this. This is some bullshit guilt-tripping garbage coming from your asshole ex. You have no duty to ensure that the daughter he had with his mistress turned new wife is cared for. No duty. Only concern yourself with your own children with him. And his job is to financially care for all his kids. If he can't do that then that is all on him. Not the asshole. The only time I might consider this is if your ex could prove that his other daughter would literally be homeless and starving. He had an affair. He gets to live with it. Pulling the, well they're half-siblings so she's kinda your responsibility too, is crap. He already tried to take you back to court and sounds like he got an adjustment, which is fair. COVID kicked us all in the teeth, so he's already got everything he deserved. Not the asshole. He's not really thinking about his youngest daughter, he's only thinking about himself. He's just as responsible for his older children. Does he ever let you off the hook when it comes to his older children? Doubt it. You can't really let him off the hook. It's your kids' money, not yours, and since they're very young and can't make mature decisions, you simply make sure they get what's theirs. Like the actual law says. He decided to have a third child. He could also decide to get a second job, after he finds a new main job. Not the asshole. Their daughter is suffering because, well, my children are suffering because their dad abandoned our family for a new one. NTA, he can pound sand. Not the asshole. Know what the judge told my father when he pulled that bullshit to get CS lowered, claiming he had a new family to take care of. You take care of the family you started first. Request denied. Not the asshole. You don't get to replace previous children with new ones and then blow off the ones you don't live with. Too bad if they're struggling. They should have figured out before they had a child they could not afford. You are not replacement income for his legal obligations to his oldest child. Nor is their biological child your financial responsibility, just because she is related to your child. One or both of them can get second jobs. Not your problem. It doesn't sound as if communicating with your ex gets you anything except whining, begging, and insults. Perhaps future communications with you should go through your attorney. NTA. Your children have a right to that money. It's not their fault or responsibility that he can't afford it. He can go to court to reassess the amount. But do not give in. Those were the consequences. The gall of that man to talk about the right thing to do. The right thing to do was keep his pants on. Info: can you afford not to receive these payments for a little while? Curious, because while you have a right to them blah blah blah, if you can afford a couple of months without, then yes, you are the asshole. For sure. This year with COVID-19 has been a tough time for everyone. No matter what beef you have with him, displaying a bit of compassion can go a long way. However, if you can't afford it, then you have my sympathy and you're just trying your best in a difficult situation. Also note, I don't know exactly how the system works in the US and if it's even possible to pause the payments for any amount of time. Not the asshole. He has 3 children to provide for, that's his problem, not yours. Your kid's half-sister is not your concern or responsibility, and he has a hell of a lot of nerve asking anything of you after cheating on you and moving 4 hours away from his kids. I would stop responding to that line of questioning discussion entirely. Not the asshole. He made 3 babies, he's got to take care of 3 babies. If he doesn't want to do it physically, he's obligated to do it financially. Info: is this primarily motivated by financial need for your children or by spiting your ex? Did your children go without during those months of missed child support payments? Not the asshole in the slightest. I also have zero experience with this kind of stuff, but I would advise that every single thing relating to child support, you handle through the court. I don't know, but I would imagine that cutting him any kind of break, even for a month, would turn into a big ordeal. Maybe it sounds callous, but half-sister or not, their child is not your problem. Your children shouldn't have to give up money so their father can provide for someone else. Not the asshole. He played stupid games and is winning stupid prizes. Not the asshole. His bad decisions, or even bad luck, shouldn't impact your life any more than they already have. Don't let him off the hook. He had the affair. He got her pregnant, which, by the way, scientists have figured out how that happens, so it's really easy to prevent. Now he has to live with the consequences. He owes you child support, he should pay it. Not the asshole. He is lucky already how the law is CS amount adjusted. The CS that he should have to pay should cover half of the expenses for the 2 children you two have together. He and his wife is the one that have to ensure their daughter is provided for. Not earning enough. Get more jobs, work more hours. Not the asshole. He owes you the money. He has to pay. However, can you survive without his money? If so, I would suggest that you be kind and merciful for the sake of the child, and let him delay payments for a couple of months. Don't let him off the hook, but let him delay payment and/or pay in installments. Give him a few months to get back on his feet. No child should go without basic necessities like food or a roof over their head. And no matter how much you justifiably resent this child, it is your children's sister. They may want to have a relationship with her one day. Also, the easier it is for him to get back on his feet, the sooner he gets a better job. And then his monthly child support amount will be raised back up to its normal level. It's better for you in the end also. Not the asshole. And #X200B. You have 2 children who you are raising by yourself, your ex has 1 child that he is raising. Major difference. It makes sense that you would need the CS. Info: how are you doing financially? Just because this isn't legal advice, it's AITA. And while you're technically in the clear, if you are doing very well and yet still holding that over someone's head, you could be ta. As long as the situation is he's trying to torpedo your family to sustain he's the asshole, but if he's asking for a reasonable accommodation in a tough time, he might be not the asshole. No assholes here, you sound vindictive more than anything. Kinda funny how in this post everyone is saying fuck the other child, but in others people say you need to think about the child. You can't get blood from a stone. The poor kids here. Not the asshole. I always love this excuse. Oh, you can't afford the child support. I had them eating 7 days a week and I used the child support to feed them MWF. So, no problem, they just won't eat on those days. I'm sure they'll understand. I can also rent out their bedroom to make up for the lost support to pay the rent, the utilities, etc. If they're quiet in the garage, should be fine till you get on your feet. Child support isn't used to buy extras. It's used for very real expenses that children have, like doctor visits, food, clothes, and shelter. If that man is still eating, he should be making sure that his children are too. Stick to your guns. Your kids matter. Not the asshole. There is a court order. That's what courts are for. He can present evidence of changed circumstances and the judge can adjust the order. Doing it privately is dodgy because 1. You don't know if he is telling the truth. 2. There is no way to adjust it back when circumstances change, and 3. The judge sees lots of similar situations and is in the best position to decide this. You are the asshole when. Yes, he was a jerk by having an affair. It is also not your job to take care of his other daughter. However, what he asks for is in my opinion really reasonable if 1. What he asks for is temporary due to temporary circumstances, at least, that's what I make out of your story. 2. They really struggle to provide for their daughter and you would not struggle to provide for yours, again, temporarily without CS. You might be mad at him, but it would be the humane thing to do to temporarily relieve him from CS. Not the asshole when 1. He wants to be relieved indefinitely. 2. You cannot provide for yourself during a temporary CS relief. Not the asshole, actions have consequences. He should have thought about that before he got another woman pregnant. He is responsible for all of his children, not just the one he has with his current wife. Not the asshole, providing for your kids is more important than letting an adult man off the hook because he doesn't know how to meet his responsibilities. It would be wrong if you were trying to hurt his other kid, but you're not, you're just looking after your own kids. Also, based on what you've said about him, I would not trust his unverified claims about what the child support payments are doing to him. If he wants to get them reduced again, he can go to court, talk to an arbitrator, or take some other step that requires him to provide actual evidence. Not the asshole. He is responsible for all his kids, not just the one he lives with. He really should have considered this kind of thing before he had that affair. Not the asshole. He did this to himself when he decided to have an affair. He owes you all of that money, it's not your problem that he ruined himself. Your kids shouldn't suffer because it. If he's got more money, take him back and get an increase. Gentle, you are the asshole. No, they're not your personal responsibility, but if you can afford to ease up for a couple months so that little girl can keep her parents and roof over her head, yeah, you should back off. 2020 has sucked for everyone. This pettiness doesn't help us grow as a society at all. Right thing to do because his other daughter is their half-sister and as such it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother. Does this clown genuinely think that the well-being of the child resulting from his affair is the responsibility of his ex-wife? How deluded is this prick? Then, he has the audacity to cast aspersions on your character after you refuse to let him off the hook for his CS payments. There's a stunning lack of self-awareness here. Not the asshole, of course. Not the asshole. It drives me crazy when the non-custodial parent does this. Like the custodial parent doesn't just get to be like, shrug, times are tough. Sorry. They have to provide for their kids. It's such a cop-out to not pay CS in most cases. Not the asshole. While the child has done nothing to you personally, her existence and well-being would not be an issue had he not cheated on you in the first place. He has no right to place any responsibility for her care on your shoulders. Personal note: I once made the call to let my ex off the hook for CS for a short period of time that he was out of work due to layoffs, but not only was I in a position to do so, he never once asked me to do it or try to guilt me into thinking it was my responsibility to ensure his other kids' well-being. We actually have a decent co-parenting relationship. Had he tried to pull the guilt trip nonsense that your ex did, on principle alone there's no way in hell I would have agreed. The audacity of this ex of yours is mind-blowing. He cheated, You want revenge, hate his new family, fair. Do you really need the CS right now? These COVID times a lot of people are truly struggling and it's not their fault. If yes, keep it. No discussion, not the asshole. If no, then you are the asshole. He has his duties as a father, but he has 3 children now and he needs to provide for all of them. If you like it or not. Not the asshole. Who is he to say what makes a good parent and person when he had an affair, moved away from his kids, and doesn't even want to provide for them? As such, it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. Nope. No, it's not. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He has a responsibility to provide for all his children. Your ex is saying, please subsidize the woman and baby I left you and our kids to have a life with. Does framing it like that make the answer easier to see? The new wife is the asshole for not telling him it's enough she stole him from you and your kids and that he should shut it since she knew from the first time he went to bed with her that he lacks the moral backbone to know better. High odds he's asking her to let him off the CS hook when he's with the next one and their baby. Stupid woman. Not the asshole, like is he basically saying he's entirely checked out on the 2 kids he had with you? Our 2 incomes are barely enough for our 1 child as long as I'm sending some of it to you, so please raise our 2 children on your 1 income. Like really, the absolute audacity of that. It's a shame for his daughter with his new wife, but unfortunately he's going to have to figure something out, because you owe that child nothing. You have to take care of your own, because obviously, he's not going to. Not the asshole, that's his damn problem, not yours. That's what happens when you cheat. Or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. Not the asshole. If he had been a good father and caring person he wouldn't have cheated and knocked up another woman. Not the asshole. He can't just stop providing for his children when things are tough, that's not how parenting works. His other daughter is their half-sister and as such it is my role to make sure she is cared for too, or at least it should be if I am a good mother and a caring person. Nope. You don't owe his side piece or her affair baby anything, especially not to the detriment of your own children. He's the one who couldn't keep his dick in his pants, she's the one who fucked a married man, now they get to reap the consequences of their actions. Not the asshole. Around hereabouts family size is one of the things that goes into the child support calculation. I don't think the fact that he had an affair is relevant. Parents are supposed to support their children regardless of the shit that goes down in their relationship. Parents have to support all their children, not just the ones living with them, and they are not legally entitled to create a hierarchy. There's no mention of what OP pays, to everyone crusading about how parents should pay for their kids. And #X200B. Both parents, not just the sperm donor. Not the asshole. So he moved away leaving you to doing all of the taking care of them, and now expects you to 100% financially support them as well. He's pretty much arguing that he should be allowed to be a deadbeat dad. Everyone is saying not the asshole for emotional reasons, like he cheated, but he lost his job and still owes you. He asked that you stop or a while so he can get back on his feet. His wife's income is not your business and your child support could mean the difference between his daughter having food or not. He cheated is not an argument, you are the asshole. NTA. He's an asshole that wants some kind of free pass for being a cheater. You take care of your kids' sunshine.